Lovely picture of the drill turning there in Montana in the Stillwater Complex back in September, our proof of concept drill program. Platte Reef style in Montana. We'll get into that more here in the presentation. I will be making some forward-looking statements. So Group 10 was active through the bear market cycle acquiring good assets. I'm going to talk briefly about our other two and then spend the rest of the talk on Stillwater, which is very much the focus. In Ontario, we have the Black Lake Drayton high-grade gold project. This adjoins Treasury Metals' First Mining Gold. 4 million ounces in the district. That is effectively for sale at present, and we are getting expressions of interest. In the Yukon, we have another PGE nickel copper asset that adjoins the Wellgreen deposit, which is now Nickel Creek Platinum. We did a deal on a part of that ground last summer, and we are interested in doing more deals of that type. Stillwater is the most recent acquisition, 2017, and it quickly became the flagship based on the quality of the asset and the database that came with it, as you'll see as we get into it here. In each case, these are all district scale assets adjoining some of the best mines and deposits of their type. And in each case, we have 100% interest, in fact, often 100% ownership. So we really are looking here for mines and things that would interest a major. We have a fantastic management team. I'll let you do a deeper dive when I don't have an 8-minute clock here ticking away. You've got a more elaborate version of the deck in front of you there in paper and, of course, on the website as well. So the board has a track record in running juniors and developing mines and running exploration and financing companies. Greg Johnson in particular took Nova Gold from 10 cents a share to $2 billion in market cap. I've been with the company since its inception, 2007, and I've been in mining since 1990. We have a fabulous technical team. Dr. Craig Bowe there at top left is an elite member of the Ultra Mafia, this group of geologists that loves these ultramafic deposits worldwide. He's been at Bushveld, he's been at Stillwater. And at top right you have Dave Broughton, who is an advisor to us, and he of course is Ivanhoe's senior advisor, former chief geologist. And that connection is important. That gave us a very real validation of the Platte Reef potential that we have in Stillwater. And to have him on board is fantastic. You've also got 3 names there from the juniors that were there before me and gave me a lot of my database. Mike Johnson, Mike Austenson, and Justin Modrew. Our target commodities, this is a nickel copper sulfide system, like most magmatic systems. So this is battery grade nickel sulfide, tech grade as it's called. We are rich in palladium and platinum, also rhodium, which is not shown here. We're now assaying for rhodium. You'll see that in the upcoming news flow. We also have cobalt and gold in there as well. So it's a true polymetallic system. In terms of the basket value, palladium is dominant here. It's probably 40, even 45% of our value at present. And nickel right behind that, perhaps a third of the value. And then the other elements make up the rest of that. It's worth noting that we're in the US. In fact, we're one of the absolute best districts in the world for these commodities. And the US has currently listed a number of these as critical, and they're looking to secure domestic supply of the PGMs, nickel and cobalt, also chrome, which we have. So it's a very good time to be doing this in the US as they look for domestic supply. There you see our claim group in yellow. It's remarkable for a junior to have a position like this. We have literally half of an iconic district, the Stillwater district. In gray, you have the highest grade palladium mines in the world, 80 million ounces at half an ounce per ton grade, palladium rich, 3-to-1 palladium platinum ratio. 17 grams per ton in the JM Reef deposit, which is that skinny purple line running right down the middle of their gray claim block. It's a meter and a half wide deposit. It's dipping into the screen at about 60 degrees. You're seeing the edges of a magmatic layer cake here. It's a beautiful deposit. It spans 40 kilometers in width, and it's open at depth. Even at 80 million ounces, it's open at depth. It's a thing of beauty. It's by far the biggest one outside of Russia and South Africa. and it looks very similar to the Bushveld district. It's in both are layered magmatic systems, and we'll be touching more on that. So South African gold producer Sibanye bought the Stillwater mines in 2017 for $2.2 billion, just as we were making this acquisition of what you see in yellow here. We actually rushed to stake the unstaked ground, recognizing that they were coming. We have the Picket Pin deposit there, up top, the skinny yellow line, but our focus very much is on that main claim block in yellow there. You see the roads running all over the good access roads. The three producing mines, one there on the east, and then one at the west and two at the east. Basically one mine commissioned each decade. This is a very good place to build a mine. So that's a slice of the, it's a schematic section looking from north, or from south to north. You can see those layers of the magmatic system that I talked about. In green, you've got the banded series, which is where the layers are obvious, and you get these reef-type deposits that are very common in South Africa. Narrow, typically 1 meter or 2 wide, grams per ton of PGMs. In the case of Stillwater, it happens to be 17 grams per ton, the highest grade in the world. As you get to the lower parts of these layered systems, in the purple and the orange and the blue, you get these bigger magmatic events, these mixing events, and that creates what we're calling the Platte Reef setting. It sets the stage for bulk mineable PGEs, nickel and copper, in our case cobalt. And that's something you see in the Bushveld. You saw presenters this morning from 2 of the 3 players on the Platte Reef in South Africa. You've seen Platinum Group Metals, which is another Red Cloud company. And you also saw Robert Friedland of Ivanhoe earlier today on this stage. He, of course, is Ivanhoe and their Platte Reef mine. Those are 2 of the 3 companies in that district. The Platte Reef district in total is 400 million ounces of PGMs, tens of billions of pounds of copper and nickel. The similarities between the 2 districts, between Stillwater and Bushveld, are well known, and yet we're the first to pick up the district, consolidate it in the bear market, and really go after that potential at Stillwater. It's there, it's real. You can see it in these mineralized zones that we've identified, in the ovals, in the blue, the purple there. These are drill-defined mineralized zones that we've worked up based on more than 28,000 meters of core in the database. So we are pre-resource. We do not have a 43-101 resource yet. That is in the works. We expect to debut those later this year, and I have a slide dedicated to that. We do also have the reef-type targets that the district is known for, and those, of course, fall into the green up at the right-hand side there. As you might expect, having seen that the mineralization comes right to surface like that, the whole system has been tipped up, as you saw in that previous slide. Soils are a very powerful exploration tool for us, and what you see here lighting up across 18 kilometers of strike is nickel and copper in soil in that lower picture, and then palladium, platinum, and gold in the upper image. We've got more than 1 gram per ton of nickel and copper just in the soils. And it's defining that peridotite zone that you saw in purple beautifully for us. We're the first ones to bring this systematically together and go after this Platte Reef model, this bulk mineable model at Stillwater using tools like this. This is an important slide. This summarizes our data compilation efforts. How are we for time? Okay, wow, I rambled too long. This is the 5 mineralized zones that we've worked up from the drill database. This is available on the website. So you have across the bottom the 3 primary ones, Chrome Mountain, Camp Zone, and Iron Mountain. In each case, we're seeing that Platte Reef model, tens to hundreds of meters thick, 0.5, 0.6% combined nickel copper with 1 gram or more of PGEs on top of that. Big, bulk mineable targets. Lots of metal in the system. Key point, and these of course are the resources that we expect to debut later this year. Key point about this slide is that we are now permitted for the next 5 years to step away from that past work and get into these conductive highs that you see here, these purple areas that have never been drilled. That's an important part for our story in the year ahead, is that we are now permitted to get away from the past work and really go after this Platte Reef model by testing those conductive highs in the coming years. That's a good summary of what we've done to date. Lots of news flow coming. Still some drill results to come out, soils, rhodium results, and then 2020 plans. And there's our capital structure and market. Key point is that we're fully funded now for the year. We had warrants thankfully expiring yesterday, and they all came in miraculously. So that 3 million cash balance figure that you see, second bottom line, has come up nicely, and the currently outstanding warrants, there's 33 million shown on this slide. That's now about 22. They were all fully exercised. We are fully funded and fully permitted for an exciting year ahead. Thank you.